No, that's why I have so many bumps.
What do you mean bumps?
Poison ivy. I tell
Oh,
you yesterday, I got poison ivy from working in the yard.
oh, it is
It,
poison ivy.
yeah. Well, I took some photos of it and I sent it to ChatGPT and I described what I was doing. And I asked, I'm like, what could this be? And it said, I learned apparently you can get poison ivy from like the roots in the soil of like an area where there is poison ivy, even if it's not bloomed. So like poison ivy hasn't bloomed yet because it's like just now coming into summer. Um, but when I was like pulling up all the plants and I got out and I was like, I grabbed some and was kind of like, throwing them off to the side or whatever to get stuff out of the way, it can still like I'm just very sensitive to it and the oils can still get on you
Ooh.
from the roots. So and like I guess like probably roots of neighboring plants too could probably carry the oils or it's just in the soil. So anyway, yeah, I have to get the oral steroid
Well,
to get to go
that's
away.
good. Hopefully it didn't spread anywhere beyond your arm.
No, just my side and like this arm mainly. It woke me up at 2:30. It's just so bad, and that was why I was sending emails at 4:30 in the morning.
That sucks. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah,
Uh, welcome to Find That Flip. I'm Alex with Harrison.
where we talk about our health afflictions.
Health afflictions. Yeah, yeah. Growing up, man. But that little that little truck thing that you got to drive around does look like fun.
It was pretty fun. I was I'm sending it back today. I got actually stuck again yesterday. I was trying to they were supposed to pick it up yesterday, and so but then they couldn't come until today. So I was like driving it around yesterday afternoon and trying to like do some additional cleanup or whatever, and I ended up getting it stuck again. I couldn't get it out, so I told the Bobcat company. I said, "Just bring a tow, bring a tow, a tow chain,
Nice. Bring a tow chain.
bring a chain, man. I can't get this thing out of here.
You're
I'm done
not
with
the
this. I was so pissed.
you're not the first.
No, no,
You
I just hated that. Well, depending on how long the chain will be, they'll have to drive the truck up into the yard to like pull it out, and I'm like, what's it's too many things, man. Too many things.
Shall we look at a house?
We should look at a house. Give the people what they're here for.
Give them what they're here for. All right. So we are real estate investors and developers in Massachusetts, and we like to just look on the MLS, see what is available for sale, what might be an opportunity out there just lurking, waiting for a buyer. So we like to look at distressed real estate, kind of do some napkin math, and see if there's some interest in the property. And then sometimes we go out and actually look at them or write offers on them. Um, So what do you want to do? You want to do like a single family? You want to look at small multis? Last week we were exploring LoopNet. We
Big
were looking at bigger
multis.
deals.
It was just one day. It was one
That was
time.
one day, one time, looking at a $20 million building.
I'd be interested to track that, but we have too many we need to track.
Yeah,
We need a spreadsheet.
we need a good spreadsheet for Find That Flip.
Yeah.
But we had some great intern candidates yesterday on the interviews. That'll be something for them
Yeah. Perfect.
in addition
What are
to
we
all
looking
of their
for?
outreach. Some of the deals they presented, I was like, that's kind of cool. We
Yeah.
could we could actually like there's something to be said there.
Yeah. They were. I was like looking them up while they were presenting them.
Good to
Um,
see the Worcester market so strong.
yeah. It's it doesn't have like it, it doesn't have quite the. I mean, I'm sure they're in some pockets, but like we're like sometimes kind of spoiled in the sense of like if we want to be looking for vacant buildings that we can go in and do everything to, and like it's going to be so cheap, and we're going to be able to cash out refi everything. Like those, like you can find those types of deals without looking too hard. And like, Holyoke and Springfield, where we've done so many of our other deals, that something that fits that specific profile, maybe a little bit harder to find in Worcester, especially in the like smaller multifamily size. Um, because all the deals they showed us yesterday were all pretty much all of them had, you know, some level of occupancy.
Right.
Um, which I don't know, maybe we're just scarred from taking over bad legacy tenants in some of our current buildings. But I'm just like, oh no, I don't know if I want to do that. But the reality is, like, if you're buying in like a really hot market, the chances of getting an all vacant building are so low.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, we're talking about real estate investing, uh, fixing up property, finding property, selling property. Um, yeah, it is, I feel like, going through the process the first time, it's kind of like jumping off a bridge and like building the plane on the way down, And now if you were to take on a series of tenants that were a bit more challenging, everything would be a bit more structured moving forward.
For
Um,
sure.
you usually always outgrow your pain points.
Yeah.
You know, that is the growth, the pain
Yeah.
points. So,
Yeah. I'd, if something like 5 or 6 units, which were a lot of the deals that those, the interviewees brought to us, if there was like a couple of vacant units that we could get in and get started working on immediately, that would be a solid win. And then if there are a few tenants that you then have to work with, like you said, you're gonna have more, like we would have more confidence going into a project like that now than we've made it this far with our other buildings, not knowing anything. Um, Now know what we know. I'm sure it would go a bit differently,
mhm, absolutely.
but
All right, cool.
do we
You want
want
to
to
look
look
at
at?
single families and multis in Worcester?
Sure.
Worcester. Hello, everybody in the YouTube channel. We're going to be looking at some investment opportunities, real estate properties for sale here in the state of Massachusetts. Seeing what looks interesting. We're going to look at most likely properties that are heavily distressed, because usually the more beat up they are, the cheaper you can buy them, which means the more money you can make. What is this one?
This looks like someone's in the middle of building something, selling it off. It says single family. I don't know if that's what we want to look at. It's not a single family. It looks like probably a duplex.
Looks nice.
New is always better. Barney Stinson's #1 rule.
Oh, is that it?
It's one of his 100 #1 rules. Been watching How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, new is always better.
I'll tell you, that project looks like it was challenging in the ground.
Yep, it does. Seen that before.
Yep.
Don't care to see that again.
That big sloping right there, the retaining wall.
Uh-huh. All right, I don't know what we're looking at. It's not what we want to look at today. All right, we have a $624,000 two family.
Hey, the price of eggs.
We have another $625,000 two family. Oh, here we go. A 4 unit, 639,000.
Hello. Because we're seeing pretty frequently, units out in Worcester appraised over 225,000.
Yeah. All right. What, completed units over 125,000 per unit?
Over 225.
Oh, 200. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like 125. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're low on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
225. Yeah, yeah. All right. Top two units have been updated. New bathrooms, floors, windows. Bottom units are rented to Worcester Housing long-term tenants. Walk-up attic space. Uh, permit to build attic. Fifth unit. Walkout basement could be ADU. Heat is all electric. Okay. Endless possibilities. Why is it so low?
I mean, it looks kind of rough.
Yeah, I mean,
Doesn't look rough there though.
looks like a lot of our buildings.
Yeah, kind of just regular. They remind me
Yeah.
of the apartment I grew up in. The apartment I lived in um, back in Columbia, South Carolina.
What, college?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to live near the zoo. I swear that's the only place they would put me.
Guess it makes sense.
Abdul, do you guys resell it within a year or wait a couple of years, or do you guys build something on it and then sell it? So you can do it a couple different ways. Typically, this property right here, like this four family, you know, inside of our model, we would realistically hold on to it for a couple of years. Um, the hardest part is usually finding the deal, followed by doing the deal. So, you know, it's kind of like it's kind of like Monopoly in real life, where you want to continue to acquire more. Because if you just sell it, then you have to pay then you have to pay short-term capital gains, which are very expensive, and then you have to find the next opportunity. So, you make more money on a flip selling it really quickly, but over the long haul, you can build more of like a sustainable base with your investment if you can hold on to the property and then let it cash flow. So inside of our model, we would hold on to this for a couple years and then look to sell it for a profit, or have another company buy it and then hold on to it for a longer period of time. It really depends on how you finance these deals as well. We have our own private equity fund, so investors can invest in the company and then own these types of deals. They can have ownership in the deal. So when you're going into business with partners, you kind of have to know, like, what's your exit strategy going to look like, which is ultimately why we would sell this in a couple years, is because we have partners.
Yeah. This is all right, 21 John. Pretty close to downtown. I don't know anything about this neighborhood, but it's a residential area. Or what? This driveway is probably for that property. So then this is your driveway. I mean, it needs a little work, but like you can. I mean, look at this. It's a three family. I'm gonna just drop the price, but
I mean, yeah, this is like a
it's
million
for
dollar.
sale
It's
for
like a
less than
million
it.
dollar. It's like
Yeah,
a million
yeah,
dollar
exactly.
property.
Yeah, at least at least probably like at least a $900,000 property. Okay, so I mean, a couple things I see here. I was just kind of looking while you were talking there. I was just kind of like going through my own head. So it says bottom units are rented to Worcester Housing long-term tenants. I'm assuming that is these two. Um, it doesn't say exactly, but these are the ones that have the exact numbers:
Yeah.
a one bed and a two bed. Um, yeah, my guess is these are the bottom two units. No lease. So if they're Worcester Housing tenants, that's great, and they're not on a lease. It's great. I mean, what's Worcester HUD fair market rents? Let's check.
So you can go to this website right here to actually see what the federally allowed Section 8 low income housing voucher rents are. So this is a great way to find out how much money could the apartment rent for um, with using a low income voucher tenant, right? So this
Yeah,
property has these tenants in place. So this will tell us basically what is like, what will they pay?
yeah. Now, if this is the, I would love to know which ones are the one beds, but it looks like or the Section 8 tenants. So it looks like neither of them, there's no leases, but they're all under market. I mean, one bed's fair market rent is 1438, two bed 1854.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some opportunity to make improvements and increase rents here. And the Section 8 apartments, you don't even, I mean, you'll probably, my guess is the tenants will have a laundry list of things they want repaired, especially if they're long-term tenants. But if you want to go in and have a good relationship with new tenants, listen to them, get a list of the repairs they want, go in and make them, and then get them to agree to sign a new lease after you make the repairs and increase. I would then try to increase the rent to whatever I can get. Usually, the tenant doesn't. You know, it winds up paying kind of like the same for their portion, whether the rent's 1,000 or 1,300. Um, so that's kind of what I would do with those two tenants. Work to keep them in place, um, especially if their units are in reasonably good condition, or you can always renovate the other two units, move them around. Um, yeah, I mean, there's some opportunity here to increase your income, and it says the other top units have been renovated, but I don't know. It looks a little iffy there. Define
That's,
renovated.
I mean, it's got, LVP floors.
Yeah,
Looks
this is the
okay.
second floor because this is, you can see looking out here. This is one of the second floor units, but where's the
There you go.
yeah? Is this the kitchen for that unit? I don't know.
You know
Might
those
be.
videos? You ever see those videos on Instagram? They're like they're never real. It's like it's like organization and structure, and like they'll do these like little 3D modelings of like here's what your bedroom looked like to start, and then they re-strategize and organize the entire bedroom.
Right.
I feel like more people need to do cool stuff like that. It's not even that complicated, but it's the creativity of finding a lot of unique storage possibilities.
Yeah.
I feel like that everybody just has so much stuff.
Yeah, they do have so much stuff. Speaking for myself, I have way too much stuff, and like I've gotten a lot better at, like we've cleaned up a lot of our junk and organized it in the basement, and a lot of the stuff for like the kids that we want to store. Um, but yeah, it just adds up so quickly. Like you have to like keeping yourself organized. It's a running job.
We should go look at this property.
Yeah, this is truly a good one. I mean, we should be aside from what you can do with, what your strategy is with the tenants. What these units should be renting for is like 13, this is with utilities included. So let's assume no utilities included, 1350 for the one bed and 1750 for the two beds. I believe there's two of each, right? I keep flipping through pictures. Yeah, two of each. So what did I say? 1350 and 1750. Yeah. That's 6,200 a month in revenue.
Yep.
So, times 12 times, this is the smaller building. You could probably get away with a little bit lower expense ratio. If you have a 35% expense ratio, it's 74,400 a year in revenue, 48,360 in net operating income. If it's an 8 cap property, oh, that's only $604,000.
Well, you said it's a 74,000. You said
No, I think I
74,000.
fucked some. I think I fucked something up here.
Yeah,
Hold on.
you did it after
60.
debt service, I think.
What did I say? 1350, right? Plus 1350 plus 1750 plus 1750. 6,200 per month.
Yep.
12 months. 74,400 in revenue. Times 0.65. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, if you're doing 35%.
No, I did it right.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did
so
do it right.
you're looking at 48,000 a year in net operating income.
Yeah, puts it at puts it at around 700.
If it's a 7 cap, yeah, it's around 700. So
Hmm.
I wonder what 4 family comps are. I mean, it's not like I'm a little surprised because another strategy you could do here is you could um, lease all 3 units, leave the best unit vacant, and then try to sell it to an owner occupant.
Yeah. Now that would be a difference in like what's your strategy for do you hold on to it for a couple years or do you sell it? Some markets like 4 families, 3 families, 2 families, these are all properties that you can effectively buy with an FHA, first time home buyer loan. So we call those more, those are more residential type transactions. They're not commercial transactions. Um, so, yeah. So, sometimes the market, people will pay more, they'll pay a premium to be able to live and buy their own home compared to, you know, renting. And sometimes that same home will sell for more if it can be a home ownership opportunity than if it's a rental opportunity. So this is kind
Right.
of like knowing your market and having a couple different exit strategies.
Right. I mean, look at this. You have 2 families under agreement listed for 519, 450. 3 families sold for 571. Uh, 2 family listed for 579. 3 family 645. Two family 650. All right. Sold for 725. A 3 family. But you have 3 beds too. We also have smaller units, which is something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
2211. 3 family 730. 3332. All right. Well, maybe a little bit more conservatively, this is.
Mr. Thompson, only in that discretionary income kind of way, but I appreciate your insights.
I didn't see what he said.
Yeah. A lot of people think we make a great romantic couple. Glad to
Oh,
know.
thank you.
At least we look, we got it going on, I guess.
That's right. Look at this. 5 unit, 800. Okay. Good condition. So this is probably like a $750,000 property.
How much is it listed for now?
639.
Yeah. Yeah. Might not be deep, but might not be able to buy that one deep enough.
Yeah. I mean, 725 here on a 3 family, 725 on a 4 family, 3320.
But you clean that thing up and you give one of those owner occupied and you give it some curb appeal, I feel like you might be able to get an 8.
Yeah, you might be able to. You certainly
Yeah.
might. I mean, 730 on this 3 family, 3332. Turnkey steps to WPI. This is probably like a college rental. Look how clean this is. It's 4 families active. They want 750. It's been on for 98 days, so that's telling you that. Interesting. They want 750 for this, and it's active for 98 days.
Well,
No curb appeal. Doesn't help.
it doesn't. It doesn't. It really hurts.
People
More
just
than
show
people
up and they
think.
say, no thanks.
More than people think.
Yep. I mean, the inside of these jeans aren't bad at all. I mean, could use a little bit of love, but yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
My guess is this is $750,000 property. It doesn't need that much work, but it needs some. I'd probably put 50 grand into it, 50, 60, hanging it. Clean up the occupied units. Maybe obviously clean everything and do some curb appeal.
Listen, we have the event in Everett on Wednesday. We should try to stop by and see this one before.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's uh it's something that wouldn't be probably the best strategy on this would be you don't have to come up with a ton of money down if you're gonna put 20% down. What's that? Let's say you were to buy it at 640. You're putting 128,000 down, so call it 150,000 to close, plus maybe 50,000 into renovations. So you're putting $200,000 down on everything, and then um, you get your rents up to 6,200 a month. You're going to cash flow a bit. Um, it's a small property, so you're not going to have a ton of expenses. They're also all separate entrances, so you don't have things like common area expenses, other than maybe just like your outside lights and trash. But your trash is actually through the city of Worcester, so it's paid through your taxes. Um, so yeah, your expenses aren't too bad there. You're gonna cash flow a little bit. I'd hold on to it for a while, maybe write some rent appreciation, and then um, you know 2 to 4 years when you're tired of dealing with it, sell it, and maybe you can get close to 800 by then.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, it's kind of like a safe little conservative play. Like it's not an incredible deal, but it's not an overly difficult deal, and it's not a ton of money out of your pocket for 4 rental units.
Right. Right.
You know,
All right.
in a market that seems to be doing pretty good.
A market that
That's my
definitely
take
seems
on
to
it.
be doing pretty good.
That's my
Worcester's.
take on it.
That's Harrison's hot take. So what's the hot take? What do you think of the
I always like to
neighborhood?
find a way. I like to come up with a scenario for like because everyone has like there's so many different circumstances, and so everyone has a different goal. There's so many different reasons um, that a deal could work for one person that wouldn't work for another person. So I always like to look at something and be like, okay, what would be the scenario in which this deal at this price point with a particular strategy would work for a buyer,
Right.
and work through that and then kind of explain it.
Basically, business is just a bunch of puzzles.
Great way to put it.
Business is just a bunch of puzzles. Everything is a puzzle. How do we solve this puzzle? This puzzle is easy. I like easy puzzles. This one is bang your head on the table. This is a hard puzzle.
Yeah, this is a 5,000 piece puzzle.
This is a 5,000 piece puzzle. I haven't found the corners yet.
Yep. It doesn't even have a box. I don't even have a picture. It doesn't come with a picture.
My little brother smashed it off the table, so I'm now having to find it in the carpet.
Yep.
Oh man, that's what I did to poor Pat. All right, everybody. Well, it was fun to hang out with you today. I'm Alex. This was Harrison from Find That Flip. Feel free to check us out online, wollastonrei.com, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about commercial real estate and investing. We'll do more of these live streams, and we will see you soon. Peace.